Does the flip strategy actually work in South Africa?
Hello everybody, you are tuned into Now What. My name is Neo.
And my name is Lebo. So now today we are actually going to be talking about the flip strategy in South Africa.
Let's start by the definition of flip. What are we referring to when we're speaking about the flip strategy?
So now when you're looking at the flip strategy, we are talking about the cliche, right? Buy low, sell high. As simple as that. So now what we are actually going to be doing is that we are actually going to be going into the market, buying property below market value. After buying it below market value, then selling it at market value or just beneath your market value.
I mean, before we go too deep into content, man, if you are a serious property investor, we would actually like you to be part of the movement. And we've got a great offer for you at the end of this video. So if you want to find out what we have for you, you need to stay tuned, man.
Most definitely.
What I would like to open your mind to with regards to flip is that you are looking at distressed property. And when we are speaking about distressed properties, it's either the person is distressed, that means the person wants to sell as soon as possible. That reason might be they're migrating to another country, or it's a late estate. The person might have passed on, so the family decided to get rid of the property. Or you are looking at the property that's distressed. So now when we're referring to the property that's distressed, I know for now you can hear distressed property until you get there. We're talking about a property that's in a bad condition. We're talking about a condition whereby other people won't even think twice about going back to the property. So you need to have that eagle eye, that you are able to spot that property, that you know what, that is the property that I'll be using the flip strategy for.
I mean, the best way to actually spot this particular property is to walk into the property. If there is a smell, then you know that you're in the right place. If there is no smell, then probably you're not in the right place. So now let's dive into content. What are the 3 things that you actually look for when you're looking into flipping? So now I know with flipping, there are a lot of things that are actually important when you need to be looking at this particular deal. Today we're going to be talking about the top 3 things that we consider the most important when you're looking at your flip strategy.
Sure. So now at number 1, what we have there, it's our capital gains. I know the last thing that you're thinking about is tax. How does tax actually sit with regards to flip? Or where does tax actually come in when I'm flipping?
And this becomes a huge problem, right?
This becomes a huge problem. So now it's very important that you understand that when I'm dealing with rental, I'm dealing with cash flow. I'm building my credit. Now, when I'm dealing with flip, I'm getting capital gains. So if you are doing flip in a right manner, that means you'll be getting X amount at the end of the project. However, if you are doing flip wrong, that means you can actually lose X amount at the end of the project. So it's very important that you know what you're doing with regards to the flip strategy. And you know that how can I prepare myself? So if I'm getting capital gains, already I know that I need to get my accountant on board so that I prepare with regards to tax planning.
Most definitely. So now when you're looking at your flip strategy, we are getting a lot of money at the same time. Right? So now when you're looking at your tax implications to you, that's going to actually be heavy. So now your flipping strategy is the one that's actually seen as the most heaviest when you're looking at your tax implications, right? So now what you need to actually do there is to actually marry your accountant who is actually focused on property investors. Remember, we can't just get any accountant that is qualified. We need to get an accountant that knows property investing in and out, right? So now what this accountant will do, or what they need to do, is actually do a pre-planning of your tax bill, right? So now they're the ones that are actually going to tell you that these are the things that you can actually write off from your tax bill. These are the things that you can't actually write off your tax bill. In that way, you can already now position yourself to actually decrease your tax law. Because now I know with a lot of people, they're saying that let's go into this particular flip strategy, flip 1, 2 properties. Once you flip 2 properties, that's when you can actually start looking for an accountant. But now we are saying that don't do that. Firstly, get your accountant on board,
Sure.
right? Now that you have an accountant, you are able to actually decrease this particular tax bill.
Sure. I mean, it's quite controversial, even with regards to when you think about it. How can I be thinking about the minus instead of thinking about the profit that I'll be getting? So you guys are already telling me about the money that I'm paying tax. You guys are already telling me about the accountant. What we are putting out to you is the practical way of looking at flip as a business, because last thing we want is you missing the step only to find out that once you've built, once you're up there, then all of these things actually come up to hurt your growth in property investing.
Most definitely. The second thing that we are actually looking at is how to actually get started with this particular flip, right? So now we are always talking about getting money or getting the profit, making the profit before we actually buy this particular property. So what does that even mean? Does this mean that I'm going to get money before I actually buy this particular property? No. What it means is that we are actually going to plan on how much are we actually going to get from this particular property. So now this is us focusing that what are we going to need to actually refurb in this particular property. How much is it actually going to cost for us to actually hold this particular property? How much are we going to actually spend for paying this particular property? In that way, we are able to actually list all of our expenses. Once we've listed all of our expenses, then we can actually tell that, okay, this was the correct price to actually be buying this particular property at. But now, if you do not know how much you are actually going to be spending, for example, if the roof is actually caving down and you were only planning to actually paint the walls, that's an additional cost to you. So now this will actually start now eating into your profit, of which I think you do not want.
To put in practice what you just said, if there's a property on property 24 and we know that the market value of that property is 1 million, and then we managed to negotiate it down to 950,000, and then we were like, you know what, we're going for the flip strategy, and then only to find out that when the results come back, we like, flip strategy, it doesn't work in South Africa. That actually shows that we were actually done poor planning. So we didn't do whatever that you explained with regards to getting it at that right price. Already by looking at 950,000, when I'm just looking at my transfer costs, I know that it's going to become a problem. So I'll be forced, my back will be against the wall, and I'll be forced to sell it at about 1.5 million. Because I still need to even consider the estate agent costs once I get rid of this property. So already flip does work. However, now you need to follow the steps. You need to know the fundamentals that we are touching base on today to make the flip strategy work for you, man.
I like how you actually spoke about that and how it actually relates to the third point, right?
So
how do we now get rid of this particular property to get our profits, right? Which is the last step.
Already with the planning stage, we are thinking about our exit strategy. How are we going to get rid of this property? Already by getting rid of the property, the first thing that comes to mind is the price. You need to get the pricing correct. Remove emotions. Already when we're talking about getting that price correct, we know that we need to remove the emotions, because if I know that the market price is about at 1 million, I can't try and push it at 2 million thinking that I'll make 100% profit. Already I know that if it's at 1 million, I want to put it at a price whereby I know that it's going to compete in that market. I will be able to sell it off in a fast way. And when I'm talking about in a fast manner, I'm already looking at 3 months as my worst case scenario.
There are 3 things that I actually like taking into consideration, right? The first one is that how much is the value of this particular property. The second thing is that what is the market actually willing to buy the property at. The third one is that at worst case scenario, if everything actually goes bad, how much can I actually sell this particular property for? So now how these 3 actually go hand in hand is that with the first one, I actually know that how much should my prices be around, at what range should it be, right? So now looking at what Neo was actually talking about is that I know that the property is actually worth 1 million, right? So now what the market is actually willing to pay is around 950,000 to 900,000. At worst case scenario, I know that I will be actually selling this particular property at 890,000. So now in that way, I have actually positioned myself to a point whereby if someone is actually willing to negotiate me to that 890,000, I will still be making the profit, right? So now you don't want to put yourself in a situation whereby 1 million is where you will be making your profit. If you go anything below 1 million, then you'll be making a loss. So now those are the things that you need to actually take into consideration, that okay, if I do actually sell this particular property at X amount of money, am I actually going to make my profit? So now I'm the pessimistic. I'm the one that always saying that, what if this goes bad? What if this goes bad? What happens then? So now if we are in that particular case, I know that, okay, I'm not actually willing to take anything below 890,000. So now in that way, if someone does actually come through and negotiate me, I know I'll still be making my profit.
In a nutshell, flip strategy does work in South Africa. However, it's very important that you actually know the fundamentals, you know the basics. Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances, that our video can only be 10 to 15 minutes long. These are the 3 important factors that we wanted to actually emphasize on. However, there's so much more, and actually to open this platform, we did mention that we are so excited about that we are about to hit 2,000 subscribers. And in that, we want to hit our 2,000 subscription with style. So what we want to do is that we want to host a live Insta with you, because we enjoy actually having these Zoom sessions and bringing value to you. So that's what we want to do. So if you are interested, if you are a property investor and you want us to add value to your property journey, we can discuss property investing in depth, from where to start right until where to scale up. However, if you are serious about property investing, do pop us an email so that we can actually organize this and upload it, because starting from now on, we want to upload 2 videos a week. So how about we actually move in style to 2,000?
Most definitely. So now, if you haven't actually subscribed, make sure that you push that subscription and use the bottom part, right? The comment section. That's for you and us to actually interact, and also leave us a like.
Looking forward to interacting with you and looking forward to adding value to your property journey.
Noel,
Noel,
signing out.
signing out.